There's a clock ticking behind everything you do. Not the one on your wall, not the one on your phone, the one you can't hear but feel. Deep inside, it doesn't beep, it doesn't buzz, but it's always there, reminding you that this life you've been given, it's not forever. Every second is a gift. Every breath is borrowed. And the most tragic lie ever told is that we have time. You don't. You think you do. You act like you do. You plan like you do. But time is the greatest illusion. It looks endless until it ends. So the question is not how much time you have, it's how much time you've wasted. Think about it. How many hours have you spent scrolling past someone else's life instead of building your own? How many days did you delay because it wasn't the right time? How many years have you given to jobs, people, habits, and distractions that never gave anything back? That should disturb you. It should shake you, because the one thing you can never get back is time. You can lose money and make more. You can lose people and meet new ones. You can lose strength and rebuild. But you lose time, it's gone. Irretrievable, non-negotiable, final. And yet, we treat it like it's infinite. We kill time. We waste time. We pass time. But time is not your servant. It's not your friend. Time is your judge. And one day, it will issue a sentence based not on what you intended to do, but what you actually did. The hard truth is this: your results, your income, your reputation, your body, your business, they are all a reflection of how you have invested your time. Because time is not just something you spend, it's something you convert. You convert time into skill. You convert time into knowledge. You convert time into relationships, mastery, memories, and moments that echo long after you're gone. Or you convert time into nothing. You trade it for comfort, for distraction, for shallow pleasures and short-term dopamine that leaves your soul starving. And that's the difference between those who live with urgency and those who live with excuses. Excuses believe time is a bank account that refills every morning. Urgency knows that every morning is a withdrawal, that every sunrise is one day closer to your expiration, that every moment wasted is not just lost, it's stolen from your future. And the ones who rise, the ones who build, the ones who change everything, they're not. The ones with more time. They're the ones with more clarity about how precious it is. They don't wait. They move. They don't overthink. They act. They don't live in, maybe they live in now. Because when you understand how limited your time is, you stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what happens if I don't try? You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop compromising with distraction. You stop letting other people's urgency become more important than your own. And suddenly, your life begins to look different. You speak with urgency. You walk with purpose. You protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. And people won't understand. They'll say you've changed, that you're obsessed, that you're intense. Good, because obsession is what it looks like when you realize you don't have forever. Intensity is what it sounds like when someone understands that time waits for no one. Let the world laugh. You'll be too busy building a life worth remembering. Because a man who understands time moves differently. He doesn't rush, but he doesn't stall. He doesn't panic, but he doesn't pause for permission. He doesn't chase the clock, he commands it. He wakes up before the sun, not because it's trendy, not because it's a hack, but because he knows every hour wasted in bed is 1,000 bricks not laid in his foundation. He doesn't get lost in distraction because every moment stolen by noise is a moment that could have been used for clarity. He doesn't hang around people who treat life like a rehearsal, because this isn't a rehearsal. It's the main event. And that kind of man, he doesn't speak the language of someday. He speaks the language of now. He understands that the cost of delay is death, not always physical, but spiritual. The death of potential, the death of legacy, the death of becoming what he was born to become. Because time, real time, doesn't show up on a calendar. It shows up in urgency. Urgency to say what needs to be said. Urgency to do what must be done. Urgency to cut what must be cut. To build what must be built. To finish what was started. That's what separates men who watch life from men who write it. So let me ask you, how much time are you wasting pretending you have more? How many dreams are on pause? How many conversations are postponed? How many risks have you dodged? Not because you're incapable, but because you believed you had more time. Let that question burn. Let it pull something primal out of you. Because nothing will change until your relationship with time changes. You must stop seeing it as a container and start seeing it as a contract. Every second comes with a demand. Every minute asks a question. What are you doing with me? Not what are you thinking? Not what are you planning? What are you doing? Because the clock does not care about your potential. It does not slow down for your excuses. It does not pause for your fear. It moves forward with or without you. Tick, tock. That's the sound of your future fading or forming. And that decision is yours. You get to choose not once, but every single day. Will you let time manage you? Or will you master it? Will you let it slip through your fingers, sand running from a clenched fist? Or will you shape it, mold it, transform it into something eternal? Because that's what the greats do. They make time count. They turn their hours into impact. They turn their years into stories. And they turn their lives into proof that when time is treated like treasure, everything changes. Time, when honored, becomes the most powerful tool in your hands. But when ignored, it becomes your greatest enemy. And what most people don't realize is that the war is already happening, not in the future, not someday, but right now. Every second, every minute, a battle is waged between who you are and who you could be. And the battleground is how you spend your time. You don't lose to failure. You don't lose to doubt. You lose to delay. You lose to the thought, I'll do it tomorrow. But here's the truth that no one wants to hear. There is no tomorrow. There's just a rotating illusion that tricks you into believing you've got more shots at life than you actually do. That's why the man who respects time doesn't just live, he leads. Because time is leadership. It's self-leadership. It's being so dialed in, so intentional, so brutally aware of what matters that you stop bleeding hours into nonsense and start turning minutes into miracles. He leads his morning. He leads his focus. He leads his responses. He leads his attention like a general leads an army with ruthless discipline and unwavering clarity. He knows that how you spend your time is who you become. You spend time scrolling, you become scattered. You spend time doubting, you become hesitant. You spend time building, you become dangerous. And that's the goal, to become so intentional, so focused, so fiercely protective of your minutes that the world has no choice but to take you seriously. Because let me tell you something, time doesn't wait for the weak. It rewards the relentless. The ones who wake up before the sun, not because they have to, but because they refuse to let another day pass with their destiny still on hold. The ones who say no to distraction, not because they're better, but because they're clearer. Clear on what matters. Clear on what builds. Clear on what counts. And what counts is now, not next week, not next month. Now, this second, this hour, this day, this is all you have. And how you treat this day, not your goals, not your vision board, not your to-do list, but this actual day. That is what decides who you become. So you must wake up every morning like a man at war, not with the world, but with wasted time. You must move like your clock is running out, because it is. And when you live like that urgently, intentionally, unapologetically, time becomes your ally. It becomes your amplifier. It becomes the invisible hand that pushes your vision forward. That's how you build a life worth remembering. That's how you turn a decade into a legacy. Because when you live with urgency, your days become sacred. You stop living for the weekend. You stop waiting for the right mood. You stop bargaining with time like it owes you something, because it doesn't. Every day is a gift. Every hour is on loan. Every breath is a miracle. And the moment you understand that, you stop existing and start executing. Your mornings become weapons. Your routines become rituals. Your calendar becomes a contract with greatness. You no longer wake up hoping for motivation. You wake up commanding your movement. Because you know, the man who moves first wins. The man who acts fast leads. The man who uses time as his leverage becomes the one others depend on. And that's who you are now. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a lucky break. You don't need more hours in the day. You just need to stop giving them away to things that don't build you. You see, time has no bias. It doesn't favor the rich. It doesn't favor the poor. It doesn't care where you were born or what you've been through. It simply gives you what you earned through your level of respect and execution. You honor it with action. It multiplies. You waste it with excuses. It disappears. And let's be honest, you already know this. You've felt the pain of wasted time. You've had those nights lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, asking, what am I doing with my life? You've felt the weight of missed chances, delayed dreams, the haunting regret of what you could have done if you just started sooner. And the world will let you sit in that regret. It will let you waste decades. It will smile while you drift into mediocrity. But you're done drifting. You're done waiting. You're done sacrificing your future to the comfort of your present. From this moment forward, you become a man of execution, a man of urgency, a man of discipline. And it won't be easy. The world will try to distract you. Your mind will try to bargain with you. Comfort will seduce you. Fear will whisper. But you will win not because you feel ready, but because you decided that your time is no longer negotiable. It is sacred. It is expensive. And it is yours. And when you protect it, when you spend it on purpose, when you stop renting your life to low-value habits and start investing your time in high-value becoming, you will rise. You will move faster. You will think sharper. You will become unrecognizable to the man you used to be. Because that man, the one who waited, who wandered, who wasted, he's gone. You buried him beneath the hours you earned. And from the ashes of that old self, something greater rises. A man of urgency, a man of fire, a man who understands that discipline is love. Love for your future, love for your purpose, love for everyone counting on you to step into your full weight. Because you've seen the cost of delay. You've felt the sting of watching others live a life you know you were capable of but didn't claim. And no more. No more waiting for the stars to align. No more hiding behind excuses masked as strategy. No more sacrificing your greatness at the altar of comfort. From now on, every hour counts. Every task has weight. Every decision carries the pressure of legacy. And that's what men like you were made for. You weren't built for the shallow end. You weren't built for soft living. You were built to carry weight, to rise in the middle of pressure, to make war with your weaknesses. And time is your battlefield. So you attack it with clarity. You stop asking, how much time do I have? And start asking, what can I create before my time is up? Because that's the difference between those who leave a mark and those who fade. Some spend their lives avoiding death. You spend yours building something that outlives you, a reputation of execution, a body of work that speaks when you're gone, a life that becomes permission for others to rise. But to get there, you must stay ruthless. Ruthless with your focus, ruthless with your boundaries, ruthless with your time, because every yes is a no to something else. Every hour spent distracted is an hour stolen from your dream. Every time you choose comfort over calling, you train your soul to settle, and you are not here to settle. You are here to multiply, to dominate, to produce, to give the world the most powerful version of you before your time runs out. And when you start living that way, every step becomes deliberate. Every breath becomes purposeful. And every night when you close your eyes, you'll know, I didn't waste it today. And that's what peace really is, not escape, but knowing you gave your day everything it asked of you. That's what it means to live full. That's what it means to die empty. And that's how you turn time, the most fleeting resource on earth, into something eternal. And we're not finished yet, because this edge, once sharpened, cuts through everything. Excuses, distractions, laziness, doubt, they no longer stand a chance against a man who understands time. Because when you see it for what it is, a gift with a closing window, you stop playing. You stop pretending that goals will achieve themselves. You stop telling yourself, I'll get serious when, no, now is serious. Now is sacred. Now is your only shot. And the world will keep feeding you the lie of balance, the myth of moderation, the gospel of you've got time. But deep down, you know better. You've always known. You've felt that gnawing tension, that holy unrest, that ache that says, there's more in you than you're living right now. That ache is your soul rejecting the ordinary. It's your potential banging on the walls of your current habits. It's your future self screaming through the noise of your present life telling you to wake up. Because time is not slowing down for you to figure it out. The days keep coming, the clock keeps moving, the calendar keeps flipping, and either you master your time or you'll be buried beneath it. So ask yourself the real question. What are you willing to suffer for? Because greatness requires suffering, not of the body, but of the ego, of the comfort, of the entitlement to free time that isn't spent building anything worth remembering. You must suffer distraction. You must sacrifice the easy life. You must say no 1,000 times to everything that pulls you even slightly away from the life you swore you'd build. Because time won't stop for your healing. It won't pause while you overthink. It won't slow down while you second guess. It keeps marching, and if you don't march with it, it will trample you. But if you rise, if you wake up like a man on a mission, if you treat your time like gold and your days like battlefields and your mind like a fortress, then time becomes your ally, your silent partner, your invisible edge. It compounds your habits. It echoes your work. It elevates your name, and you become untouchable. Not because you're lucky, but because you made a covenant with time. If you don't waste me, I won't waste you. And that covenant, it changes everything. Because that covenant once made is eternal. It means that every second from here on out is sacred. Every moment is a decision, a vote, a declaration of who you are and who you are becoming. And the man who honors time in silence becomes the one they speak about in legacy. He doesn't chase noise. He doesn't beg for approval. He doesn't perform for praise. He simply executes, quietly, daily, ruthlessly. He shows up when it's raining, when it's lonely, when no one's clapping. He shows up because time is watching, and he knows one day it'll run out. That's not morbid. That's liberating. It means you don't waste it on fear, on fantasy, on someday. You live now, fully, loudly, with precision and presence, with weight and focus, with the fire of someone who knows he only gets one shot at this. You build like it matters. You speak like it matters. You move like your life is your message. And when you live that way, the world shifts. Time bends around your energy. It amplifies your vision. It opens doors you never saw. It elevates your impact. Because time favors the man who respects it, the man who doesn't spend time but invests it, not in everything, not in everyone, but in what multiplies, what scales, what builds legacy. That man, he's unstoppable. Not because he's the smartest, not because he's the fastest, not because he was born with more, but because he made time his ally while everyone else treated it like a toy. And now, look around. Everything you want is waiting on one thing, how you treat your time. So stop lying to yourself. You don't need more time. You just need to start honoring it with urgency, with clarity, with execution, because one day the clock will stop and the only thing that will matter is what you did with it. Make sure your answer is everything you were born to become. Time is precious. Don't spend it explaining. Spend it becoming. There's a kind of wealth that isn't measured in money, a kind of success that doesn't scream on social media or glitter in accolades. It's quieter, deeper, unshakably powerful. And if you learn how to build it, you'll never walk alone again. It's called relationship, and it's the real currency of a meaningful life. Because at the end of every hustle, every goal, every late night grind session, there's a single question that haunts the heart. Who's there with me? Who truly knows me, sees me, strengthens me? Not the crowd, not the followers, but the few, the rare, the real. Most people are starving for connection, drowning in contacts but thirsty for connection, surrounded by noise but aching for someone who actually listens. And the tragedy isn't that deep relationships are rare. The tragedy is that most people never learn how to build them. You can have talent, wealth, influence, but if you don't know how to nurture relationships, you will always feel bankrupt where it matters most. Success without love is hollow. Growth without connection is unsustainable. A life without real people in it is a slow, silent death dressed up as achievement. So here's the truth. Building lasting relationships is not a mystery. It's not magic. It's a discipline. It's a blueprint. And it begins with mindset. Mindset determines your approach to people. If you see people as tools, you'll use them. If you see them as threats, you'll avoid them. If you see them as competition, you'll resent them. But when you see them as mirrors, reflections of you, extensions of your growth, you approach them with reverence, with responsibility, with openness. You begin to shift from transactional to transformational. From what can I get from this person to who can I become through this connection? That shift changes everything. Because when your motive is pure, your presence becomes powerful. But presence doesn't happen by accident. It requires belief. You must believe that relationships are worth the work, that showing up for someone else is not a detour from your success, it's a direct path to it, That vulnerability is not weakness, it's access. That listening is not passive. It's the most powerful thing you can do in a world that never shuts up. Believe this. People remember how you made them feel more than what you said. They remember if you were present, if you listened, if you made space for their truth without needing to fix them or prove something. And that kind of presence, that kind of intentional, soul-level presence, is what builds bridges no storm can destroy. Clarity follows. Clarity in who you are, clarity in what you value, clarity in what kind of relationships you're building and why. You cannot build a house without a blueprint, and you cannot build lasting relationships without knowing your foundation. What are your non-negotiables? What are your values? What kind of energy do you want in your circle, and what kind do you need to release? If you don't clarify that, you'll tolerate anything. You'll confuse history with alignment. You'll stay in draining relationships out of guilt or fear. But clarity sets the standard. Clarity protects your time, your heart, your energy. Because not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone qualifies for a front row seat in your life. And that's not arrogance, it's stewardship. You are responsible for the energy you allow around you. You are responsible for the soil you plant your roots in. And once you have clarity, you cast vision. Not just for your business, not just for your goals, but for your relationships. What do you want them to look like? What kind of friend, partner, mentor, leader do you want to become? Don't drift design. Vision breathes intention into every interaction. Vision gives you a reason to be consistent, to be patient, to be generous, even when it's not reciprocated. Because you're not loving people based on how they treat you. You're loving them based on who you've chosen to become. Purpose fuels it all. Purpose in relationships is what separates the fleeting from the forever. When you know why someone is in your life and why you are in theirs, you stop playing games. You stop pretending. You start showing up fully and calling others higher. You begin to understand. Relationships are not convenience stores. They are commitments. They are sacred spaces where growth is mirrored, pain is shared, and dreams are protected. And that kind of purpose demands discipline. Discipline to call when you don't feel like it. Discipline to forgive when it's hard. Discipline to hold boundaries with love, not resentment. Discipline to keep choosing someone day after day, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. You water what you want to grow. And relationships, like gardens, don't bloom without attention, without sacrifice, without pruning what doesn't serve the health of the whole. And as you move from discipline to action, remember little things build big connections. The text that says, "I'm thinking of you." The moment you look someone in the eye and say, "I hear you." The willingness to be wrong. The courage to say, "I'm sorry." The boldness to ask, "How can I love you better?" These are the bricks. This is the cement. The daily, invisible acts of presence and persistence that stack over time into something sacred. And as you build, let gratitude guide you. Be grateful for the people who stayed, for the ones who challenged you, for the ones who didn't leave when it got messy. Gratitude turns relationships into sanctuaries. It softens judgment. It magnifies the good. It makes space for the flaws without losing sight of the gift. Even in conflict, especially in conflict, gratitude keeps the door open. It reminds you, this person is not my enemy. This problem is not the relationship. This moment does not define us. Adaptability becomes your superpower. Because no relationship stays the same forever. People grow. Circumstances change. And if you're not willing to grow with it, you'll lose what could have lasted. The key is to evolve without detaching, to pivot without losing purpose, to give space without creating distance. That requires humility, flexibility, faith. The understanding that change isn't always a sign something's wrong. Sometimes it's a sign something is deepening. And resilience, that's the heartbeat. Lasting relationships aren't built by perfect people. They're built by present people. Forgiving people. People who are more committed to repair than being right. Who can disagree without disconnecting? Who can go through the storm without jumping ship? Resilience says, I'm not leaving just because it's hard. I'm staying because it matters. That kind of resolve, that kind of loyalty that is rare. And when you become that person, you don't just build relationships. You become the relationship others never want to lose. Because love is not just a feeling, it's a force. And when you choose to love, to show up, to grow together, you create something no fame, no money, no success could ever replicate. You build legacy, one conversation, one moment, one act of love at a time. And legacy is not built in grand gestures, it's carved into the everyday, into the way you remember someone's name when no one else does, the way you sit with silence instead of rushing to fix, the way you stand by someone, not just in their highlight reel, but in the raw, behind-the-scenes chapters of their life. That's where real relationships are born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not in the noise, but in the noticing. Because the people who change your life don't always make headlines, but they always make you better. And when you become one of those people, when you choose to be that steady, that intentional, that loving, you become unforgettable. Not because you performed, but because you were present. Not because you impressed, but because you invested. Not because you shined alone, but because you made someone else shine brighter. This is the blueprint, not for shallow connection, but for soul-deep relationships. Relationships that don't break under pressure. That don't vanish at the first disagreement. That don't rely on perfection to persevere. But relationships built on trust, truth, time. You give what you want to receive. You initiate what you wish existed. You show up as the friend, the partner, the leader that you wish someone had been for you. Because when you do, something sacred happens. You attract what you are. You start drawing in people with the same values, the same fire, the same vision. You no longer chase, you align. And in that alignment, relationships flourish. There is no shortcut to this, no cheat code, no three-step hack. It's deeper than that. It's a lifestyle, a way of being, a conscious daily choice to honor people, to see them, to fight for them, to build with them. And in doing so, you heal, you grow. You discover parts of yourself that only bloom in the presence of connection. You begin to realize that life isn't meant to be a solo climb to the top, but a shared journey, a chorus of voices, a circle of strength, a collective evolution. So don't just succeed alone, build together. Don't just rise fast, rise deep. Don't just network, nurture. Because when everything else fades and the lights go out and the applause stops, it won't be your resume they remember. It'll be your relationships. It'll be who felt seen by you, who became better because of you, who grew under your love, your leadership, your loyalty. That is the mark of a life well lived. That is your blueprint. Now build. Build not just for the moment, but for the legacy. Not just for what looks good, but for what feels right in the soul. Build the kind of relationships that echo long after the conversation ends, long after the moment passes, long after you've walked out of the room. Because in a world obsessed with impressions, choose to make impact. In a world chasing reach, choose to create roots. And here's the final truth, the one that will separate you from the masses forever. Lasting relationships are not found. They are forged. Forged in fire, in friction, in forgiveness. They are not stumbled upon, they are sustained through sacrifice. And you are the architect, the builder, the creator of the life you will one day look back on and say, I didn't just climb, I didn't just achieve, I connected, I built something eternal. So be the one who remembers. Be the one who apologizes first, who shows up when it's inconvenient, who holds space when others are silent. Be the one who protects trust like treasure, who speaks life when others gossip, who leaves people better than they were before you met them. Because that energy, that kind of spirit, it doesn't disappear. It echoes through generations, through memories, through every life it touches. And when you live like that, when you love like that, your relationships become unshakable. Not perfect, but permanent. Not easy, but eternal. You stop needing guarantees because you've become the guarantee. You stop needing everyone to stay because the ones meant to will feel the gravity of your presence. And you stop asking, where are the real ones? Because you are one. That is the blueprint. That is the way. Now go and build the kind of love, loyalty, and legacy that cannot be broken, ever. And as you build, let your life speak. Let it speak of loyalty in a world of convenience. Let it speak of consistency in a culture of flakiness. Let it speak of depth in an age obsessed with surface. You will be tempted to give less, to protect yourself, to expect nothing and invest even less. Because yes, people will disappoint. They will forget. They will walk away. They will betray. But don't let broken people turn you into someone you're not. Don't let their fear teach you to withhold your heart. Don't let their absence become your new standard. You are not here to survive connection. You are here to thrive in it. You are here to love radically, relentlessly, intentionally. You are here to show the world that real relationship still exists, that it's not extinct, just rare. Rare like gold. Rare like truth. Rare like you. So live rare. Stand out by standing steady. Build the circle that speaks life. The table where everyone is safe. The bond that cannot be bought, only built through time, trust, and truth. That's your role now. The example, the blueprint, the living, breathing reminder that you can build something beautiful, something lasting, something sacred, one relationship at a time. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, just truth, loyalty, patience, love. That's how you change your life. That's how you change the world. So start today. Speak life, show up, be present, and build what will never break. Because when the dust settles and the noise dies down, all that will matter is who you built with, who you fought for, who you held space for, and who did the same for you. Legacy isn't about how many people know your name. It's about how many lives were changed because you were in them. It's about who you made better by your love, your truth, your presence. So take inventory. Look around. Who are you building with? Who are you becoming in your relationships? Not just in the good moments, but in the moments when it's inconvenient, when it's hard, when it costs you. Because that is where the real relationship begins. When it costs, when it stretches you, when it confronts the parts of you that still need growth, but you stay, you grow, you show up anyway. And in that showing up, something sacred forms. A bond that won't bend under pressure, a connection that doesn't fade with time, a love that isn't based on perfect conditions, but on presence, on choice, on truth. So be bold in love. Be fierce in friendship. Be clear in your standards. Be patient in your building. Be generous in your spirit. Be faithful in your follow-through. And most of all, be grateful. Grateful for the people who've walked with you. Grateful for the ones who challenged you. Grateful for the ones who stayed. And grateful for the opportunity every single day to become the kind of person who builds what lasts. Because that's what this life is about. Not just what you achieve, but who you become through what you build together. Now go, not to impress, but to invest, not to collect connections, but to create covenant, not to be remembered, but to remember what truly matters. This is your blueprint. Now build,